All right, Coach, welcome back to BYU Sports Nation. It's our yearly conversation. We appreciate you taking a moment for us.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having me on.
We want to be clear, Nyborg is not here with us. He is there with you now, right? He's on your staff.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. He's our director of player personnel, in charge of all our recruiting, and does a lot of the things, kind of special projects for me, and helps out with ops. He does a tremendous job.
You could say he was a special project for us as well in the past.
Yeah. I'll leave that one untouched.
We love Zach. Your team's 3-1, scoring over 50 points a game, fourth best scoring offense in the country. What has gone right for your team in September?
We've just gotten a good rhythm. I thought, we played catch. We threw and caught the ball well. We've run it when we want to run it. Except for really the Michigan State game, and that's a credit, I think, to their front seven on defense at Michigan State. But we've just been in a good rhythm. Jordan's, I think, taken another step from where he finished last year as a redshirt freshman. And we've got some experience back, and our guys are have played well for 4 weeks.
Yeah, I want to go to something you just mentioned, Jordan Love, in terms of taking that next step. Where do you feel he has had the most growth in his game from last year to this year?
Well, I think his accuracy's increased, and I think part of that is two things. Number one, I think his fundamentals have been refined over the spring and through the summer, just with his footwork and some things like that to help his consistency. I think, number one, that helps with your passing accuracy. And then the second thing is his knowledge of the offense. And I think the longer you're in this offense and the longer he's in it, the more he knows, he's able to progress through reads to his third and fourth options. And the more you get to that, you tend to find guys, as your third and fourth option, to be a little bit more open. Therefore, your completion percentage, I think, goes up a little bit. You're not forcing things as much, and so I would attribute it to both those things.
We're talking with Matt Wells, Utah State head coach. The Aggies off to a 3-1 start. Your team went up to Michigan State and lost a close one, an entertaining game there, and then 3 straight at home in which you've put up 40-plus, 60 against New Mexico State, 73 against Texas Tech, and then a 10-point win, putting up 42. Now you hit the road again. It will have been 35 days, Coach, but you had a bye, and you are 6-0 in games coming off bye. So what is it about that makes your team that much more prepared?
Well, I don't know if I know the full answer to that, but I think we've just stayed consistent in our bye week schedule. I like it. I think there's been a good mix of practice, fundamental practice, tough practice, resting our guys, doing a little bit more conditioning than we typically do throughout in a normal week. We practice our young guys a lot more. We scrimmage. We have a mix of recruiting, getting a little bit ahead for the next opponent, things like that. That doesn't guarantee you success by any means at all. I mean, I don't look at that and think, oh, that means you're always going to win after bye week. Not even in the closest. I think it's how your players take to that bye week and how they prepare, and I think it's just as much how they prepare coming out of the bye week more than anything.
Talking with Matt Wells, the head coach of the Utah State Aggies here on BYU Sports Nation. Coach, I'm really curious your answer to this question. BYU and Utah State have been playing a really long time, but there has been more and more success from the Utah State side over the last couple of years. What do you attribute that to?
Oh, I think this is our program's better than it was 10 years ago. I think I think starting with Coach Anderson, we have recruited better. We've retained a lot of players. We've been fairly successful. It's a good era right now of Utah State football. I mean, we've been to bowl games 6 out of the last 7 years, and that's, quite frankly, that's the best stretch ever in the history of this program. And, there's a bunch of things to attribute it to. I think probably I would be very remiss if I didn't point to 2 people that had a huge, huge hand in that, and that would be, former president Stan Albrecht and the former AD Scott Barnes, those two guys had a vision for Utah State in terms of moving the football program, the facilities improvement, moving Utah State from the WAC to the Mountain West. They were visionaries, and they were guys that were very aggressive in doing that. And our alumni, our boosters, those people have, been there, I think, every step of the way. So there was it's not just recruiting, it's not just coaching, it takes everybody. And those two guys, I think, started the whole thing about 10 years ago.
And it's certainly become a game that I look forward to a little more now each and every year. What sticks out about BYU as you've prepared for the Cougars this Friday?
Well, they're big and strong up front on the O-line and the D-line. Some things I don't think ever change. They always got length on the edge. I mean, there's always a Kafusi playing defensive end. Corbin is a really, really good player, and then certainly Devin, I think, has a bright future, and he's going to be a really good player. But, they've always got really good backers. Taki and Butch, I don't think they are. I think they are typical BYU backers in that they are very strong, very aggressive, very good open field tacklers, and so I got a lot of respect for those guys. I think you see that and you go, man, typical BYU, strong, physical, tough. This year is no different.
What do you make of the BYU offense that Coach Grimes is trying to install in his first season as the offensive coordinator?
Well, you see a lot of things. I have a lot of respect for Coach Grimes, and you see a lot of things that reflect his career. Really, as you go way back when he was at Boise and Arizona State with Dirk Cutter, and certainly you see that, I think, with the jet sweep series and the fly sweep series and all the things off of it. I mean, nakeds to bootlegs to shots to screens to just split zone to handing it off, a bunch of different formations. I see a lot of that influence in him coming out. I know he was, did some of that at LSU as well. He was around Gus Malzahn for a good amount of time. That was pace, run the ball, physical at Auburn, all the tricks. You see a lot of that stuff. And then they're doing a nice job. I really think that Tanner is, in terms of his coaching, I think he's getting coached really well. He's a really good quarterback. You see him go through his progressions. I mean, and that's evidenced by him dumping down to running backs and those kind of things. Very, very well coached.
Let's finish with this. The old wagon wheel. You've got it. You won it. You won by 16 last year. Where is it, and are you going to bring it down to the game? Because sometimes the winner doesn't bring it down. They only give it up if they lose the game.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. I maybe that's a reflection of us not having it very much, but I think the winner should bring it to the game. I think that's the way it's been since I've been here. It's in our complex, but yeah, we'll certainly bring it down. I just think I think it's a really cool trophy for a really good rivalry, and I think that's something that's really neat to play for. I think the players get up for that. I think it's a really cool deal. And so yeah, I just you own your side of the rivalry, right? So I think you bring it down, and that's the right thing to do.
Absolutely. Always fun to have a trophy with it. Matt, we appreciate the time. We'll see you Friday.
Okay, appreciate you having me on.